Hi, this is Rich Acosta with My City is My Home, and this is an overview of two property tax policies that we are proposing for the City of San Antonio to consider. We would ask the city to pass these policies and work with other taxing jurisdictions like the county and the school districts to follow suit. Data used to put these proposals together were obtained from the City of San Antonio and Bexar County public information requests, and there will be a link to the comments that will take you to the documents used. The City of San Antonio total estimated property value was 73.6 billion in 2011, and in 10 years it almost doubled to 136.9 billion, an 86% increase by 2021, which at first you think it's because of all the development that we've seen in the city, but we only had 4% increase of production within the city of San Antonio within that same 10-year period. So that 86% increase was distributed across all San Antonio property owners, including renters, as property taxes is a major contributing factor to their rent. And not all property owners get a homestead exemption, and even with the exemption, the city of San Antonio's revenue almost doubled from 2011, which was 353 million, to 640 million by 2021. So again, that is an 81% increase of property taxes after exemptions spread across all original property owners. The numbers are reflective of all properties in San Antonio city's limits, so your individual property may have seen much more of an increase in the last 10 years. Some even have doubled their values in 1 year's time without exaggeration. What we are presenting is a policy to affect all properties, which is needed to be allowed under the Texas Property Code. Unfortunately, the Texas Property Code does not allow a different tax rate for different areas or populations. Like if you wanted all low-income individuals to pay a lower rate, that's not allowed, or a certain part of town is not allowed. So in order to be legal, the rates must be applied fairly across all. Before we go into our property tax proposals, I want to acknowledge that the San Antonio's City Council voted to increase the homestead exemption this year, and is expected to vote to decrease the tax rate by 0.01 this year, which would mean basically your property taxes would be lowered by 1 cent per $100 of value. We are supportive of those proposals and are making no attempt to stop them, as these changes will not affect our proposals nor make them any less needed. It is unfortunate that those additional exemptions and lower tax rate, without exaggeration, from the data I just showed, will do nothing to stop those that are unable to afford their property taxes today, and those that will struggle next year if we continue to see our taxes increase at the current rate. With all that said, let's get into the actual proposals. We hope you will inform the City Council, and we will also include a survey in the comments to get your support. Our first suggested proposal will bring an additional tax relief to all San Antonio property owners during periods of rapid value increases. It would provide a 0.02 tax rate discount, which is 2 cents on every $100 of property value, for a given year when the San Antonio's total property value increases more than 4%, and then an additional 0.01 tax rate discount for each additional 4% increase. So for example, in 2021, our total property values was 136 billion, which was an 8.75% increase from the previous year of 2020. So that's 4%, which would give you a 0.02 discount on your tax rate. But since we're at 8, that's an additional 4%. So we got a 0.03 discount in this example. Again, we're not asking to go back to previous years. This is just an example of how this discount could have been applied to the past, so that way you can see how it would affect you today. In this example, house was worth about $200,000, and this was the discounted tax rate. You would have saved about $60 that year in property taxes. In 2011, we saw a total value of $73 billion, which is basically half of what it was in 2021. And they saw a negative 1.66% decrease in their property value changes from 2010 to 2011. So in that case, there wouldn't have been a discount given at that year. The whole point of this is during economic downturns, when the property values are lower or stagnant from the previous year, no discount would be given for that year. The discount amount that was chosen was after tests to ensure that the city revenue would still increase, because cities still need to grow, the population's growing, services need to increase. If applied to the past years, just as an example, the discount would have allowed an average yearly revenue for the past 10 years 3% increase. The actual increase of revenue per year was about 5.7%. So yes, with this policy, your taxes would still increase. So for example, in here you can see what year it was, the percentage of increase from the previous year, the discounts that we applied, what the actual property tax revenue was that for that year, how much the discount would have brought the city of San Antonio's revenue down to, and this is the difference between them. So we saw $34 million of less revenue in 2021 if this discount was applied. But notice that the discounted value is still more than the previous year if it didn't get a discount at all. So that's how we can justify that this discount is still possible with allowing the city of San Antonio's revenue to continue to increase to provide its various services. This policy would not only affect homeowners that qualify for homestead exemptions, but all San Antonio real property owners. It's important to note that landlords do not currently receive any type of exemptions and would be getting some property tax relief. The city could increase or decrease the property tax rate with this policy still, and potentially increase the discount if they needed, but they may see a reduction in revenue compared to the previous years. So that's proposal 1. And our second suggested proposal is to freeze all real property taxable values and only allow an increase of the property taxable value when the property ownership changes. Unlike our first proposal, this one is against the Texas Property Code, so it's illegal. For that reason, this proposal asks the city of San Antonio to work with Texas legislators to make a change in the Texas Property Code to allow taxing jurisdictions to be able to freeze all property tax values upon the point of sale or ownership change and refreeze upon resale. If this policy would pass in 2023, for example, the freeze would be applied for the current or following year. So if your property taxable value was $200,000 for 2023, when this policy passes, then that would stay your taxable value going forward. We are not seeking to go back to previous values before the passage of this policy, as not to disrupt current city revenue. Continuing with this example of the policy passing in 2023, if you would then have sold your property in 2025, you would still be able to sell that property for the actual market value, whatever you could sell your property for, even if it's more than $200,000 of the frozen value. And once the new owner takes over the deed and is recorded with the county, whatever the Bexar County Appraisal District estimated market value would be for that year, that would be the new taxable value until this buyer sells or transfers to the deed to a new owner. The property owner would still be able to protest their Bexar County Appraisal District's estimated market value, but with this policy, fewer homeowners may see the need to do so, saving both the property owner and the county staff time from less protesting. This would also allow predictive property taxes for property owners. The city's revenue would still be able to increase with the new production and sales, which though we may have only seen 2,000 to 3,000 properties be built each year, in the last year we saw over 26,000 sales or change of ownership. And this could be a push for more development to happen, because when new development, including infrastructure, happens with the freezing of the homeowners' property values, they do not have to then worry about their property taxes increasing. If the city needed more revenue, they would still have the option to increase the property tax rate, which would allow voters to actually be able to weigh in before any increase, unlike the current process where homeowners' only option is the complicated and time-consuming practice of protesting their property taxes each year. If San Antonio were able to pass this policy, they would also see an increase in renovations, as homeowners would not see added taxes for making the needed home repairs, which they often use to protest their property taxes. And this could increase the revenue from permits, sales taxes, and jobs. The city, the county appraisal district, and the Texas legislators each blame each other on who needs to do what in order to address our housing crisis. But the truth is, it's the entire system together is to blame. There is not a weak link. The entire chain is corrupted. This city has the power to pass this first proposal with a discount on the tax rate when we have rapid value increases, which we've all seen. But the second one that will truly help our homeowners not be taxed out of their homes is the most needed. But we'll take your city council members to fight for us and push Texas legislators to take down their barriers to preserving your housing. So this is a call to action. Complete the link survey in the comments to show you support these policies, and share these proposals with your city council members. Perhaps there is a better way than what we are proposing, but we need to push the city to think outside the box, as the status quo is no longer acceptable. Thank you.